we're all individuals. We have different backgrounds, we have different goals. I mean, the differences just go on and on. I've talked about it in other videos, and I think our differences are a good thing. I really do. I don't like forced diversity. I don't believe in it, but the fact that we are different people mean that we value things differently based on maybe our background, our experience, our knowledge, our interests, our goals. And with that, you can have a difference in opinion on what something should cost, or if what that cost is a good value. I mean, for example, there's somebody who says, I'll never own a new vehicle. I'm never going to pay that new vehicle payment. I don't want to pay new vehicle insurance. I will never own a new vehicle. Maybe where they live, there's different laws or fees or things associated with having a new vehicle. And it's really not about the vehicle. It's about where they live and the crappy laws they have there. And the person has every excuse why they don't ever want to have a new vehicle, right? But at the end of the day, I think what it really comes down to is it has no value to them. You know, I hear the whole depreciation thing. I hear the depreciation thing till I just get sick of hearing it, really. If you buy the thing new and you sell it 2 years later, you're going to lose your ass. But if you buy it new and you drive it 7 to 10 years, you're not going to lose your ass. But if you're the kind of person that doesn't want to keep a vehicle that long, new, used, or otherwise, then yeah, depreciation, right? I don't understand why somebody would buy it and then sell it in 2 years, but people do that, okay? You can't save stupid, right? But you see, let's look at the value. One person might value their time to sit at home and watch TV and get high. So because they value that time, they're not willing to work harder in order to have the money to afford the vehicle. And that's the real reality of it. I don't want to work harder to earn more money to be able to afford this. But they're going to use every excuse, right? You have another person that says, I got kids, I got to get them to school. What if there's an emergency? I work a job that provides for my family so I don't live in the freaking ghetto, so my kids can have nice things so that we can enjoy our family vacations and stuff like that. If I miss that job, they will fire me and give somebody else that good paying job. I need a reliable vehicle. So for them, that payment, the insurance, all the whatever fees are attached to that, the value is there because that vehicle helps make a difference in their family's life. And it's just a difference of opinion, perspective, how you look at it. One person says, oh, I don't care about any of that stuff, and they're sitting on the couch eating Cheetos, smoking weed. Okay, man, different values. So how you value something that costs you money is also part of what you value in life in general. There are just some people that are like that. I work with plenty of people that will turn down the opportunity to work overtime, but then they have to bum a ride to work because they can't afford a car. Well, what's the basic problem here? You don't value your freedom of mobility, so you don't work to get that freedom. I don't get it. But people are individuals. We're all different. There's other things too. You may see something for sale and you look at it and go, it's just a chunk of plastic, it's just a block of wood. Why does it cost that much? But the person who makes it says, look, man, I make these things by hand. There's value in this. The customer goes, not really. It's a block of wood. It's a chunk of plastic, whatever. It's just, and they'll go back and forth. And one person's not willing to budge on price, and the other person's not willing to buy it. And it's one person is looking at that object's value and how much blood, sweat, and tears they put into it, and another person's looking at it as, dude, it's still a piece of plastic or wood. I just don't get it, right? You'll have one person that says, man, they did the front brakes on my car and it cost me $700 or $800, right? And another person goes, $700 or $800, you realize you could buy everything to do that for about $150, $200 max, and you could do it in one afternoon in your driveway, right? But the other person goes, look, man, I live in a freaking condo. We can't fix our cars in our driveway. I don't have a garage. I don't have a jack. I don't have tools. And I have no idea how to do brakes. for me, $700 or $800 to do my brakes has value in it, right? Because I don't want to invest in the tools. I don't want to spend my afternoon doing that, and I just plain don't know. What do you want me to do? Pay to go to trade school to learn how to do brakes? Right? And the other guy goes, I learned this as a kid growing up. I bought the tools a little at a time, and I've had them for decades, so I'm not really out any money for these tools that I already own, and I don't have an HOA or something like that telling me I can't do my car in my driveway, work on my car in my driveway. I got the time this Saturday afternoon. The weather's good. For me, I'm spending 1/4 of what you're spending, so I see value in that, the savings. And you'll have two people looking at it from a different point of view. Butchering a deer. I can tell you that I have had discussions with other people who hunt, and they'll say, yeah, man, I'm not going to pay $200 or $300 to butcher the deer. But they have a pole barn where they can hang the deer up in the freezing cold. They have a table they can butcher them on. They've got a meat grinder. They've got a vacuum sealer. They've got a dehydrator. They've got all this stuff that they need, and they've got the time to do it. Whereas for me, paying the butcher is more, there's more value to me because I work a lot. I don't have the time to put on my one day off. Do I want to spend half the damn day butchering a deer? I'd have to butcher the deer on my kitchen counter, which I've done. It's a pain in the ass, right? And I've also had situations too where the weather changes. I got the deer hanging up in the shed and it's 30 degrees out. Then the next day it's 54. Not good, dude. Not good. And I've packed a deer full of ice until I've had time to butcher it before. It's a pain in the ass running out to get ice. So for me, because I really don't have the resources or the time, or my time, what little bit of free time I have is worth that much to me, I'll pay the $200 or $300 and everything is vacuum sealed and labeled and good to go, right? But the other person goes, dude, you are throwing away your money. If you look at what you spend butchering that deer every year, in a couple years you could have the meat grinder and everything else. Two different perspectives, two different points of view. And I think there's always going to be that difference of opinion. You're going to have the person who wants the $200 gun, right? Because they ain't paying that much for a gun. The person that only shoots 9mm and 22 because they typically, historically, have been two of the cheapest calibers you can get. Well, you have another person going, you ain't going to save your life with that 22. Sure, it'll kill, but, for self-defense, that ain't going to cut it. Or, the whole caliber shaming with the whole 9mm. I'd much rather have a 9mm for self-defense than a 22, but you're going to have the people that are going to say, 9mm is still too small or whatever, and it's a difference of opinion. You've got the person who wants to defend their life on the cheap, and hey, whatever. And you got to look at the value in there, right? The value. One person's going to say, I'm going to get a more potent caliber. I'm going to get a more expensive gun and that sort of thing. You also have to look at, too, the laws in the area, right? Somebody can open and conceal carry and they don't need a permit. And they can take a gun almost anywhere and blah, 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 blah. The self-defense laws are more conducive to actually using a gun in self-defense. Heaven forbid you actually have to do it. I mean, nobody really wants to do it, right? Whereas somebody else lives somewhere where you so much as just say the word gun, you get arrested, and, you've got all these restrictions and all this stuff. So one person has the freedom to have this thing. Maybe they're going to spend a little bit more money. But another person goes, damn, I can barely take the thing out of my house. Why spend a lot of money on it? Then you got you're not spending enough, that your life isn't important. And you got all these different opinions. But at the end of the day, what's the real value? For me, it's not doing it your way. And for you, you see me as throwing away my money. We just have different outlooks. So the value of an object, the value of a service, the value of time, the value of so many things really has to do with maybe our values as individuals. And I think it's good to have a healthy debate on that, but don't try to change my mind, because you're not going to. And I ain't trying to change your mind, but I do try to give you my perspective just so that you can see that there's more than one perspective out there, and it gets just for something for you to think about. What you do with it is what you do with it. I don't care if you change. I ain't trying to convert you, and I'm not seeking validation to say, oh man, if you ain't doing it my way, you're doing it wrong, only because I'm insecure and I'm thinking, shit, what if I'm doing it wrong, right? But there's plenty of people like that out there on YouTube. I guarantee it. If you haven't noticed, pay a little bit more attention. Thanks for listening.